Well, welcome to Beyond the Message. We are continuing the conversation from our weekly teaching because it helps us to advance in our journey with Christ. I'm Josh Welchel.
I'm Pastor Alex.
Well, this week, Pastor Alex, you talked about walking in the dust of the Rabbi. And you mentioned at the beginning of the message that we are to walk according to the Spirit versus the flesh. And I know that in my life, there have certainly been times where I've had to really discern, is what I'm thinking, is what I'm wanting to do, is this the Spirit or is this the flesh that's leading? And so I'd love to just hear your perspective. How can we tell, how can someone that's watching tell whether they are walking in the Spirit or walking in the flesh?
The first word that comes to my mind to answer that question is fruit. And the flesh can mimic all kinds of things, but it cannot produce the fruit of the Spirit. And love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, and self-control. The fruit of the Spirit is the result of the Spirit. And so if those things are popping out of my life and so to speak, on the branches of my life, then I know I'm walking in the Spirit. If they're not, then the opposite is true. I'm walking in the flesh, and they war with one another for sure, because we're not done dying yet. So it's a constant daily battle. But when it comes to walking in the Spirit or a relationship with the Holy Spirit, there's two words that I use daily in my prayer time: full and led. I want to be full of the Holy Spirit, and I want to be led by the Holy Spirit. And if those two things are true, I'm full of the Spirit, to where if you bump in me, the Spirit's going to spill on you, right? Because I'm so full of Him. And if He's leading me, then I'm going to be walking in the Spirit. And so the two things I talk about with the Holy Spirit every day is, hey, I want to be full of you, and I want to be led by you. And then the fruit is the test.
Yeah, it's good. This week you talked about the commitments of a disciple, and really highlighting three. They were committed to being with the rabbi, being taught by the rabbi, and being like the rabbi. And so sometimes I think this is true of us in our faith. We have commitment issues. So what are some of the challenges that keep us from being fully committed disciples?
So we talk about this all the time with young people who are marrying age, that it is your issue that you have a commitment issue. And the truth is, many of them do. But I think our culture has commitment issues. And the truth of the matter is, I can't buy a car without making a commitment, right? They're not going to say, oh, just give me your word. I can't buy a house without making a commitment and signing my name, 48 times in a legal book. But yet we think that you can walk it out, your relationship with Jesus, without a commitment. And that's just not possible. And silly illustration, but people all over our church make a decision on Sunday morning on whether or not they're going to come to church, which is why a little bit of rain will keep somebody away, or a little bit of snow, will keep somebody away. Why? Because it's a game time decision. It's not a game time decision. You should decide on Saturday, I'm going to be in church, and then prepare yourself so that you get enough sleep, so that the clothes are ready, so that the breakfast is ready. If you got little ones, diapers are ready, etc. There's a whole process involved, and coming to a worship service where my heart is ready ahead of time. That involves commitment, because the flesh and the Spirit, they war with one another, right? The Spirit is always willing. It's the flesh that's weak. And so to beat that flesh and to walk in the Spirit, it requires a commitment that I'm committed to Jesus. And so, when my kids were little, we're committed to be in church. We're committed to walk with the Lord. I'm committed to be in the Word on a daily basis. I can't do it without it. As a staff, I say to you all as a staff team all the time, hey, your commitment is to walk with Jesus. Before you get to work, you need to have spent time with Jesus. You're about to handle the people of God and the things of God. And so it's a commitment that I'm going to be with the Lord before I deal with the things of the Lord. So I think commitment is a good word. It's not a scary word. It's a Jesus word.
Yeah. And I want to encourage you, wherever you're at today, to use the questions below and to truly let the Spirit guide you, and consider how to be with Jesus, how to be taught by Jesus, and how to be like Jesus in your faith. And if you need any help with the questions or information about Battle Creek Church, hey, just send us a note, groups@battlecreekchurch.com.
God bless.